This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy!
Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Cat Bus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 FOR, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
Hello there.
Welcome to another bonus episode of I Dig Crazy Flicks presents 90 for Chill, the podcast with Cat Bus Russ. I'm your host, Cat Bus Russ. I'm currently in my hotel room in Rosemont, across the street from the Douglas Stevens Convention Center, and I figure I better just try to get some audio for a bonus episode done before I head to the Cosmic Celebration with Imperial Metal Act Galactic Empire. I got about maybe, let's just say 5/8 of a fifth of Plantaray Stiggins Fancy left, and might as well finish it off tonight. So want to have something coherent before I don't know where I'll be, but I hope to get this out tomorrow morning, dare I say, Sunday. And I'll digress with that. Let me jump into a movie review. This is a dive into my Vinegar Syndrome recent purchases, and I think we will go with Cyber Vengeance from 1995. I hope you enjoy and stick around for more con coverage.
Sit down, Will. This will be quick.
You see, Will, I designed this virtual prison as a system of punishment.
You can't go offline anytime you want?
Gotta do something to keep the brain working. You wanna know the rules?
No, I don't want to know the fucking rules. You work for the program. The trick to virtual reality is keeping it as real as possible.
Where do prisoners go for final termination?
Taken to an unspecified location for removal of life.
Is there a problem?
Yeah, there's a few actually, but I'd rather not speak about it over open air.
Don't do anything stupid, Will.
Now let's play.
People are dangerous, unpredictable.
Suck off.
Thank you.
Their survival instinct allows them to react instantaneously.
Heads up!
Damn. Let's get down to business.
There are 4 prime trophies out there. Let's find out who the best man is.
What is that? What is that?
You can suck my fuck you.
That, sir, is an outrage. That is unacceptable. I demand you put that man back in.
What took you so long? People are dying to meet you.
Sure beats sitting in a cell all day.
Well, we're halfway through my last Vinegar Syndrome purchase. I just concluded watching Cyber Vengeance, with the big name being Robert Davi as the antagonist. It's a film about a prison system ran by Robert Davi, where basically he goes and puts people into virtual reality, and from there he lets rich people go and hunt them. And like the Matrix, you die in the virtual world, you die in the real world. This film, though, came out in 1995, so the other virtual reality feature of that time, well, I should say there were 2, Johnny Mnemonic and Virtuosity. I think this Giant Mnemonic is a lot of fun. Virtuosity is silly. This one has a lot of great ideas and shot on a shoestring budget. I know its sequel, Absolute Aggression, is currently on Tubi, I believe, so I'll probably get to that. So, heck, I might have an episode in the tank when I can't get a guest by the end of everything. So I'm just going to get some facts from IMDb on this feature. And for some reason I visited the Stuart Gordon page a lot as I was typing her in. Let me get back here. Cyber Vengeance. All right, so 1995. It's directed by J. Christian Ingvardsen. And what it does with the virtual reality is, so your virtual prison actually ends up being a rotting Civil War prison. And then when you go into the virtual games, it's basically a scenario from world history. So we get World War I dogfights. We get French and Indian War battles and World War II. So, and basically any classic, anything you would see later on the Westworld TV series is in this feature. Our protagonist is just a history buff who's working for the prison system, but he's a sympathetic guy. As they bring up, he's intelligent. The actor is J. Gregory Smith. He's no longer with us. I can't recall when he passed. Says, cruelly, he does not have a Wikipedia page. So, and that's a sad thing about this crew, is that they're just not even the director, who's done movies all the way back to the early 80s. A guy would just essentially find a film crew, and there's a great documentary about the making of on this Vinegar Syndrome disc. So, just guerrilla filmmaking. A Larry Cohen devotee worked on the stuff, so he knows shoot movies fast. You get a set. You don't make sets. You just go and rent a place out, like a restored Civil War Revolutionary fort, or the dogfight scene is basically, I got a friend who does summer shows. You can really only fault it for really only having maybe two cameras at one time. So, it's definitely, I think, maybe a $500,000 movie in 1995. And, did great internationally, according to them. And as I said, they made a sequel the next year, Robert Davi again. But going back to the protagonist, it's basically, he's a history buff. He doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. He's working in this virtual reality prison in the meantime. He's sympathetic, though, to the prisoners, and he's getting reprimanded for that. Or is he? Basically, they learn that he's pretty much the ultimate warrior because all of his history knowledge and actual martial arts background, which is kind of minimal in this feature when it comes down to it. We get a couple of good scenes, primarily with the German action star, Matthias Hughes. We show that he can handle himself. He looks pretty good doing it. Gregory Smith wasn't necessarily a martial artist from what I can tell. Basically, Robert Davi knows that this guy wants to fight the system if he knows it or not, and has become the ultimate video game character. So he is the primary target for everybody to go and kill. But of course he's got his allies, and the only fault story-wise I'd say is that it just ends, and that's just implying the sequel. And it's just weird because none of the cast, aside from the members of the crew who each play a character, and Robert Davi, come back for it. So, just an interesting fact about J. Christian Ingvardsen is that he essentially gave Sandra Bullock her debut in the movie Hangman, 1987. So, I found it to be a lot of fun. The pacing is a little off because it's just, let's get into the next scenario. No real character development, only like one flashback in it. I think you just enjoy the concept that they're going to start all right, we're in the next video game level. This is Nintendo style. This is the age of Super Nintendo. We're not PlayStation yet. No cutscenes. So if you like that kind of style, I mean, if you just take it for what it is, it's basically you're in a video game, and a video game from the 90s. It's cheap when it really compares to today, and it's just charming because of that. It's, for the most part, the shots are competently composed. It's just, we only got so many resources. So I would definitely recommend this one. This one is hard to find. As I say, the sequel is on Tubi. This one, you pretty much have to go right to Vinegar Syndrome to get. And I think it's far better than the 3.6 IMDb is giving it. So I guess in that, since I've created an account, but I'm on my MacBook and I don't want to, confusion, all that stuff. So yeah, Cyber Vengeance. If you can get a copy, I would buy it. Yeah, buy it, and I'm sure you'll get a good price at a resale market if you didn't like it.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll. Bring the noise.
Day 2 at Fan Expo Chicago 2025 has been fun. I can't really say I got a lot, I think I got a lot done, but, I finally got to the artist alley and nothing really popping at me. I kind of think I'm over the guys who paint models of R2 units, BBs, the Lolas. Sorry about that. Honestly, maybe a Lola just because it's a robot. But, if you're not going to offer me Aladdin Sane R2-D2, I don't think I'll be heading back there. Hey, I didn't mention the company's name in this episode, so I know I saw them in Atlanta, and it was kind of like, well, I can't pack anything that big. I don't check bags. That's just how I was raised. So, that's... And honestly, when it comes to the floor, it's fun to see a couple new lightsaber guys. Definitely a little more confident in what they have to offer. I really probably should... It's tempting. I have 4 lightsabers at home, 1 official Galaxy's Edge lightsaber, and 3 Ultra Sabers. And I know Ultra Sabers is definitely not innovating, but... I still like their designs for the most part, and after having that conversation with the gent about designing lightsabers, Ultra Sabers just knows what they're doing. What can I say? But, I have 4 lightsabers, 2 for my hands, 2 for an opponent, so I really just don't need another $150 blade, I suppose. So... it's just one of those, you go by, it's like, oh, that looks real cool, but come on, do you need it? And as for, art, I accidentally bought that 11.5 by 14 portfolio, and I don't know I didn't really see anything that jumped at me, so, a little down there, and I do have my 8 by 11.5 with me as well, and, so I guess... walking, I didn't have much time to walk on the floor, I guess is, so maybe I wasn't observant enough, and that's because I got to the con afternoon. I just made it in there basically to get to the Guardians of the Galaxy reunion with Palm Clat Teeth, Karen Gillan, Sean Gunn, and Michael Rooker, and that was a lot of fun. I'm a little disappointed that I guess just having so many members of the cast that you kind of had to ground Michael Rooker, but he was his ornery little self, and it's always fun to see Palm have to deal with just those little, just the Americanisms, I guess, since she's a French woman with a Russian heritage, so it's kind of it's a nice little dynamic they have, and it's fun to finally get to see Karen Gillan on stage. I saw Sean Gunn at Indiana Comic Convention, and it was nice that they kind of had focused solely on the Guardians franchise, and I didn't really get in line for questions. One, because it's all fan submitted, and no offense, like, mention the cities, because I don't want to hate people, like, Karen from Ohio. Oh, what? No, don't say your red state stuff. Tell me Cleveland. Tell me Columbus. Michigan. If they're not from Detroit, I don't care. Or Lansing. Love you guys at Capital City Comic Convention. And then it was basically like, okay, I got an hour before the John Cena panel, which, was a $40 investment. And as I say, got back to the floor. Nothing really jumped out at me, so I might be coming out pretty cheap. Gotta figure out my funds again. Do I go for the Ewan McGregor autograph? Do I make Hayden sad that I'm not doing a group thing? I'm just... I don't know. It seems like a lot of work, especially since I didn't get it done today. I don't know if they were even here today. I know back at Twin City Con when Hayden Christensen arrived for one day. He arrived during my panel. So during my panel, not at my panel. Oh gosh, that would have been such synergy. Hey, but I held my own there with that crowd, so maybe my opinions on Hayden, and I have not watched anything of his outside of the prequel trilogy and his television appearances, so I don't want to be unfair to the guy, because I think he's done a few good movies under Magnet releasing, and he's a working actor, so I shouldn't say speak ill of him, basically. He's doing better than Jake Lloyd. So got to the John Cena panel, and he was officially 25 minutes late, according to him. He's a worker, so it was probably a lot longer. But no, he was very cool. And he just left at the fan questions, not this fan submitted stuff. I was fortunate with my seat that I was pretty much only 10 people away from the mic, and I think he only got in about 22 questions, so it was great experience getting to ask him a question, which I'm going to save the audio for what's the odds of me getting to ask Hayden and Ewan a question tomorrow. So save that content for the official episodes, not the bonus episodes. But very cool. He's just a very humble guy. And it's just fascinating. And I think the best wrestlers are. That's why CM Punk sucks. And I guess that might be why they have such a good dynamic with each other. My only issue was if you could cast these WWE superstars as DC characters, who would you cast them as? And one of them, so they were AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Randy Orton, and the rated R superstar Edge. No, it is Cope. Like I kept trying to shout. It's so sorry. I'm try my best not to look like a mark, but not gonna. If I wasn't a mark, I wouldn't have gotten into the business. So you can't shake what you are, I suppose. And which was a lot of fun. I got to deal with a couple of little kids around me. Like it got better once I got in the queue for the questions and waited 15 minutes before the show started, and I was probably closer to 25. Yeah, as I say, I don't want to work you. Just sitting in in the standing, and then sitting in the queue. So ahead of me was a woman with a 10-year-old girl who I think the mom wanted to ask the question, in the end she did, but she used the kid to do it because the kid was just so nervous to ask John Cena anything, and like, what was the question I was going to ask him? And I'm just coaching her through, like, look, I screwed up doing this stuff at 42. You're 10. You will forget about this. And I know it was a real fun experience. She, just telling her, stay in front of me, let her ask the question before me. And then behind me was a father and his little kid, and he asked a great question. Well, he was asked to clarify it, but it was a really deep question about his retirement. Do you think people will forget about you? But I had fun just talking with those kids, honestly, before and after. I know I say I hate kids. I think I'm just envious, dare I say, that they get to be kids. So, hey, I had to grow up. Oh, well, I'm supposed to be growing up, I should say. I'm portraying a grown-up. There we go. And it was fun, just like I made a joke with the guy behind me about, did any of the Make-A-Wish kids want to get AA to heaven? And he was just like, oh, that's what I can ask. I can ask him to AA my kid. And I was just saying, hey, it's a hollow stage. It's not going to be that painful. That's going to hurt. Yeah, life is pain, kid. Anything else is just selling, trying to sell you something. So, it was just fun goofing around with those little kids. And then the con for me concluded, aside from the cosmic celebration with Galactic Empire, by checking out the Darren's bootleg safari, Darren of Effin' Birds fame. And that was a fun little thing, getting to see some really twisted stuff, like understuffed Detective Pikachus that look like they had the face of Winnie the Pooh. As somebody said, I think it was the host, like, this is Winnie the son of Winnie the Pooh that Winnie does not recognize, despite Detective Pikachu has the blood work to prove it. And then, some Minion nightmare fuel, some weird, poorly designed superhero toys, Batman with pupils, come on. Spider-Man with one hand smaller than the other, and I'm just hoping he gets to posting these videos back up. I mean, I know he's got a job, and just finding out he a little into his personal life, I could see why he hasn't posted anything since 20 on his YouTube or his website since middle of 2024. I think Dragon Con was the last one he did there, and I've seen him twice. This is the third time. Twin Cities Con with a Power Rangers knockoff movie as his bootleg film, and then there was also, and then at ATL it was Fan Expo New Orleans, I saw him show us the Humanoid, the Star Wars knockoff with Richard Kiel. And then there was, I think, Barbara Bach maybe? Wasn't that too? And then this time he showed us Shocking Dark, which I was like, oh no, don't do this to us, because he's a fan of Bruno Mattei, and we had a great conversation about, or he, had great information about Bruno Mattei and how he works, and the name, how what Italians think American names are, history of some of the actors and where they went on to, from movies like Robot Wars, where it was basically says it's what if the Predator was a RoboCop, which really is confusing when you break that one down. But I made a comment earlier because his guest was talking about you're from Canada, you don't get The Simpsons. Oh, you get The Simpsons. We've pretty much given up everything about our culture and just accept the American stuff. And he brought up something. about some show, and I made a comment. Some Canadian show, and I made the comment, "Oh, your tax dollars at work because of how the CBC works." And he says, "Funny," because and that kind of gave him a transition into the shocking dark stuff about how he's got plenty of IMDb movie credits as a producer, because if you don't want to pay taxes in Canada, or if you're behind on taxes, just invest in a movie with a union script and a Canadian crew, and boom. So I thought the tax shelter thing was done, but I'm not Canadian, so I guess can't play that. But hey, if any of you lasses up there, up in the Great White North, need a suitable husband, I can fill that role, don't you know? Yeah, I know that was a little Wisconsin too, but so yeah, that was Fan Expo day 2, at least for me. As I say, I'm just now at the 10-minute warning, essentially, of getting back to the convention across the street. I think it's raining, so I still got to do my kayfabe shower. Hey, I'm a wrestler. Axe body spray is a lifesaver. My hair looks too good right now, so. But of course, I think it might have rained, so at least that justifies me carrying a bag in there so I can go and smuggle my rum in. So I think it might work out. So with all that said, let me just get the formalities out of the way. Best way to help the podcast is obviously to rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast apps. 5 stars, please, but be as honest as you want in the comments. I do my best to learn from it, and I think I'm catching on to a lot of my mistakes. So thanks for the support. More importantly, there. You could also be a guest on I Did Crazy Flicks. If you have a movie, a theme, an actor, a director, as long as you're thinking about off-the-wall cinema, bonkers stuff, I'm more than happy to chat with you. If you got 45 minutes on Zoom, we can fry up some podcast gold. But if you got something a little more mellow, as I say, catch up on some John Hughes. That's a big blind spot for me. I've really only seen The Breakfast Club, Uncle Buck, and Home Alone, dare I say. Or if you want to talk, I know it's kind of goofy, but The Freshman, Matthew Broderick, Bruno Kirby, Marlon Brando. Hey, I'm game to chat about that, because those movies are pretty brief and fit to the 90 for Chill concept that this podcast is founded on. So send an email to russthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com. Or you can find me on my social medias. I'm at CatBusRuss on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. And Blue Sky primarily. And the final way to support the podcast is to become a Patreon member. If it's not the podcast you want to support, hey, check out my Instagram. See pictures of Ava the Queen Kitty. You will want to support her. $3 a month gives her 3 tins of cat food, and that's really all I hope for. In exchange, you get access to the back catalog of the Podbean original feed of 90forchill.com, the podcast. So see how I've evolved in my podcasting journey. You also get a free waterproof sticker. So, hey, whoever got my Circle water bottle from yesterday, good luck getting rid of that bumper sticker for I Did Crazy Flicks. And you also get a shout out on every episode as long as you're a subscriber. So thank you, Tim Bates. He's been a guest on to talk about Arena from 1989, Bloodsport in Space, and the horror comedy classic Night of the Demons from 1988. And former backstage personality at AA Wrestling, The Scoop Staley. So really all I have left to do is, hey, didn't get myself in any trouble today, and thank you, Stacia Hardin, for keeping an eye on me. And the big thing about my question with John Cena was, I think it proves that I'm not Mr. Right, sadly. I'm Mr. You're not wrong. And there might be a but afterwards, but yeah, I'm not, not bad, but I'm not perfect, dare I say. And I just got to roll with that. So hey, thanks for getting me out of trouble station so I could figure that stuff out. And I hope you're doing the same for everybody else you touched in your life. And I hope you're squeezing the ectoplasm out of the most jellicle and fluffy of kittens, Skimbleshanks, the one-eared angel. Thank you for checking out I Dig Crazy Flicks Presents 90 for Chill, the podcast with Cat Bus Russ. And, after this one, we're just going to conclude back on our regular schedule on Wednesday. So, until then, thanks.
Can I hear a wahoo?
This podcast was made possible by the love and support of Dave and Cindy Stevens, Rory Stevens and Allison Higgins, Danny Daniels, and Stephanie Smith.
Long live Flash! You've saved your ass. Have a nice day.